How you doing? So I'm going to reveal something. It's going to be might be kind of shocking to some of you. I know I seem like this open book kind of guy, and I am to a degree. There's a lot of things I'm not going to share, especially things that are incriminating. But as far as how I look to people, I don't care, right? So I'm honest that way. I'm an honest guy. I've shared a lot of things on here before that uh, are embarrassing about myself, and not flattering because I'm a real human being. I feel like that's what we should all be doing. The more real you are, the better off you are, uh, just in your relationships with other people and all that good stuff. So, this, what I'm going to reveal here is like a thing, I don't really know how to put it into words, but I'll just come out and say it. Look, I did not go and see the Barbie movie. I had you going there, didn't I? Did not go see the Barbie movie. Don't care. Barbie was ruined for me by my sisters, especially after my parents got divorced. And that first Christmas Eve, my mom woke me up. I was like 13. My mom woke me up and got me out of bed at 1 o'clock in the morning. I had to stay up all night putting together my sister's Barbie dream house. And my little sister's whole kitchen of metal stuff, refrigerator, oven, sink, whole miniature kitchen. Because, we program girls to be a certain way and boys to be another. So that whole Barbie thing was, wait, I'm not going to go see the Barbie movie. But what I found out is yesterday I was watching Gutfeld and Ryan Gosling, I think, was in it, right? He's nominated for an Oscar. Not that I care about the Oscars or anything, but he's nominated. He's the only guy who got an Oscar nomination. I think they got nominated for like 8 awards separate from acting, but he got nominated for Best Supporting Actor. So once again, in the world of women's world, it's the man that's getting the accolades, right? Just like in collegiate sports, the number one, the top tier swimmers are actually men in women's sports, and the top tier women's sprinters are men. It's because we're in this upside down world going on right now. The world is so crazy. The asteroid cannot get here quick enough. I hope you enjoyed that. Separately from that, got a comment this morning in one of the videos, and I get this comment a lot in my videos, not in every video, but it comes up a lot. And I also notice it in my real life dealings with people. I'm talking about young men under 30, under 35, warming up to me and wanting to listen to what I have to say or hang out, come around the shop. Like I've sold a lot of these clunker bikes I build, and bicycles are an interesting thing because you can be any age and be into them. And like any other hobby or anything else you're going to get into, you get into something, and if you care about the history of it, you get into that and you discover cool stuff, and then you get to the roots of it. So the roots of mountain biking are clunkers. And I've sold a lot to young guys, and they come around and I show them how to do things, and then they keep coming around. They call me, they want to come and hang out and all that. But today's comment struck a chord because the guy said that his dad is gone, and he likes listening to me because it reminds him of listening to like a father type figure. So that is heartfelt for me. Thank you. I know that. I know that about myself. It was not me thinking grandiose about myself or anything. It's been brought to my attention for decades mostly from women, single moms that I've been friends with, that I know, that want me to mentor their children, if they have boys in particular. And I still do that today. I got an 8 and a 10-year-old that I spend a lot of time with. Man school, man stuff. And so I want you to know that I do take that role seriously. It's fun. I have a lot of fun with it, and screw around and joke around and lie on purpose to get a reaction, just like my dad did. You know, my dad told me a lot of BS, and I went out into the world as a little freaking peepee head, repeating dumb stuff and arguing with people about it, then going home and telling my dad, hey, I said this, and they didn't believe me. And he would laugh at me and go, hey, the lesson here is don't believe everything everybody tells you, including me. he was street smart stuff, man. So I just thank you if you feel that way. I want you to know I do take that role seriously. And when I talk about wanting to do like some stand up and all that, one of my lanes, I want it to be man school, because a lot of it's just going to be coming from my personal experience coming up, you know, being born in the 60s, coming up through the 70s and the 80s, and being surrounded by, you know, men, real, you know, men. They weren't pretending anything, you know, war fighting, hardcore dudes that came home and raised families and created businesses and worked hard, and, you know, all pretty much blue collar type people. It came up that way, the hard way. You know, somebody brought up, I'm going to forget it now, but it's a great comment on the bicycle video I posted yesterday. I can't think of it. Over the Edge. Great movie. It was 1979. If you haven't seen Over the Edge, Matt Dillon, I think that was the movie he was discovered for. It might have been his first film. You got to see that movie, Over the Edge. I've mentioned it before. I've mentioned it in videos where I talked about my hoodlum childhood, because that's what we were like. Now, that movie goes off the rails. It was a propaganda film to scare adults and local authorities about the youth, because we were running around like crazy people. But that was the end, man. The 1970s into the 80s was the end of you being able to mature on the streets, for the most part, to a large degree. You know, so, because when I think about man school, and if I'm going to get up and tell jokes, I want to talk about man school going all the way back, you know, 400 BC, right? 7 years old, you know, in Greece, you're getting, Spartans, you're snatched away at 7, you're going to military school, where every waking moment of the day is educating your mind and developing your body and having the mindset for war. And at an early age, you know, here's a spear, go out in your loincloth, go kill an animal and live off the land for a few days. You know what I'm saying? Which is how my dad raised me. 8 years old, I could be in the woods with a knife living. My dad was born and raised in a part of Greece up in the mountains with no electricity, no running water. Right? Now, it's a beautiful place. They got apple trees and almond trees and walnut trees, and they grow grapes and they make their own wine. It's amazing how people can sustain themselves in a rural mountainous area. But he was hunting with a slingshot every day as a little kid, bringing home rabbits and shit for the family to eat. Right? And they eat a lot of lamb there because there's sheep there. There's a lot of sheep herders there. So that's why they eat the lamb. But they had to be careful too. They have these giant timber wolves there that eat people. That's why everybody walks around with a shotgun up there. But anyhow, I'm just saying, like, we're so soft today. To the point where I feel for you guys. I feel for the younger male generation. You know, this is not a woe is me thing about men like, oh, you don't understand what it is to be a man. Like, what we have to go through mentally, and when are we a man? And, like, I remember my mom telling me, well, you're a man when you grow hair on your chest. That's bullshit. Being a man is a state of mind. It comes from maturity and making a whole lot of mistakes. You know, doing the things that you don't want to do without bitching about it. You know, learning to develop a confidence that only comes through experience. Putting yourself in tough situations on purpose so you can grow from it. Right? Integrity. Always doing the right thing even when nobody's watching. Right? There's all these things. And a lot of these things are good for women too, obviously. Right? We want to be the best people we could be. But, you know, I think about the ancients all the time because I believe I was there. I could close my eyes and I just have these visions sometimes that are so real. Literally, like wearing sandals and feet marching and smells, and it's pretty crazy. What we all came from. It's like the dog. The dogs come from wolves. Wolves used to be out in there, you know, pack of wolves doing their thing. And now we domesticate them to the point where, and rebred them and everything else, where there's dogs that make no sense whatsoever. You know, they don't even live very long because we've engineered them just to be cute, to look right, because we like that look. We don't think about what we're actually doing to the species, right? So it's a weird way to think, but that's what we've done. We've domesticated ourselves to the point where a huge percentage of us are just wimps. So it's a thing, and it ties into physical fitness and everything too. I talked to a friend of mine yesterday. He was talking. He's a pretty muscular guy. He's older than me. And he was talking about developing muscle. He's got his theory on it, and he does his research, and I have mine. And I don't work out anymore like that. I used to throw a lot of weight around. But he mentions, like, if you have a 16-inch arm or if you have a 15-inch arm, and I thought, what is my size? Because I used to admit, you know, when I was younger and throwing weights around, I had close to an 18-inch arm. And so last night I got to 90 pounds on the curl bar, and I'm standing here and I'm doing a few sets of 10. I'm thinking, I wonder what this is like. So as it turns out, because I'm not lifting, you know, I just said I did curls, but that's not the same thing. When I say lifting, when I talk, I mean going to a gym or a home gym and working out like a bodybuilder, like we all did back in the day. If you were working out, that's how you worked out. You did chest and back, bis and tris, legs, abs. You know, you worked out body parts to build muscle. You don't really need to do that, right? I have a whole system that keeps me pretty fit. That's real easy. But I'm not throwing the weights around evenly, and I'm right hand dominant. And while I'm ambidextrous to a large degree, I could wield a circular saw at my left hand pretty much just as good as my right hand. I'm still using the right side of my body for everything. So years ago, I went to the chiropractor, and he was telling me, dude, the whole side of your body is more overdeveloped than the other side. And last night, I still have about a 16-inch arm here, but only 15 on this side. That's crazy. That's an inch difference is a big deal, you know? So it makes me think, I guess I got to start training that other side because you want to be well balanced. So something to think about. The other thing is if you should be doing something physical. And if you're sitting at a desk all day, just as a tip, set your timer every 20 minutes, every 30 minutes, whatever works out for you, and do something. Do some push-ups against the desk, get into a deep squat, do 20 squats, do some push-ups if you have the room, whatever. Do that throughout the day. And if you're a blue-collar physical guy, like plumber, electrician, carpenter, framer, whatever, and you're doing these same motions all the time, it's actually more important for you to do some resistance training to develop the other muscles that you're not using throughout the day. If you want longevity, health and longevity as you age. Because if you're not well-rounded with flexibility and building the other muscles you're not always using, as you get older, you have a greater chance of straining yourself, straining your back, straining a muscle because you're not working it. It's crazy. Sounds counterintuitive. You want to come home and just relax, but it's actually more important for you to get some exercise with that. So I'm just throwing that out there. There was a couple other things I wanted to touch on, but more than anything else, I just wanted to screw with your mind. So I hope you enjoyed the beginning couple minutes of this video. Oh, wait a second. I did a video yesterday about the axles for the van. Believe it or not, called the guy, talked to him on the phone, put the video out, sent the emails, got an email response back initially that was just like, well, you know, whatever. I didn't even pay attention to it. Got a second email later in the afternoon from a higher up with the company. And very cool guy. And he pointed out how it doesn't work for all vehicles. They need to see the vehicle. Now, my van is lifted. I've got the new torsion keys in it, so I can crank it up even higher in the front. My rear end is up. You know the story, 4x4, the whole thing. I probably have more room than a stock Astro van. So we'll see how this works out. But they told me, first he suggested in the email, if I sent them pictures of it, they could let me know if it would work. Because the shaft that connects the two ends is fatter, obviously, than your stock size. And so a lot of vehicles, and when you look at an Astro van, you can tell it's pretty tight under there. So a lot of vehicles won't support that upgrade. But if it's lifted and everything, there's a greater chance that it would be supported. So instead of me sending him pictures, they're about 80 miles away. Hopefully sometime next month. We talked about it. He'll get back to me. He'll know more in a couple weeks. The guy who makes these decisions is out of town for a few weeks. So when that guy gets back, I'll call, and it's looking pretty good though. What he said to me was, if I drive the van there and they can eyeball it right there and it makes sense, sounds like they might make them. They'll at least make a set. And he told me they've done that in the past. So I'm not telling you should go there and do this. It's not going to work on all cars, but he did say it's happened before, where somebody's shown up, they've worked it out, and they made a set for him. This is very cool. He also told me, this Astro van knowledge here, who knew? He said, okay, he's on the computers, I'm talking to him. He said that your van, the third generation van, the last 3 years of the Astro van, 03, 04, 05, which I think are the best versions for my own reasons. 4-wheel disc brakes, 16-inch wheels, better suspension. There's a lot, no EGR valve. It's a more modern vehicle compared to the second gen, a little beefier. He said there's only about 13,000 of them still on the road. However, overall, all-wheel drive Astro vans on the road today, I think he said 32 or 33,000. That's how many are still on the road. So you figure a small percentage of them would want this, but it's probably enough for them to make X amount of units. So I think we're going to make this happen. I'm going to knock on some wood here. Oh, here we go. I think it's going to happen. How crazy is that? And this is the power of positivity, putting things out there to the universe and manifesting shit. You know, it really is as simple as visualizing it, thinking about it, and then making little incremental steps towards a goal. And I'm flabbergasted regularly at how you can achieve things and make things happen just by having an open dialogue with another human being. You can send as many notes as you want. You can send out as many resumes as you want. I was talking to somebody about their kid the other day with resumes, and I'm like, look, he needs to go down, knock on a door, shake somebody's hand while looking them right in the eye, sit down and have a conversation. That's how you get a job. All right? You have to have an interaction. And it's unfortunate because I think that the younger generations weren't raised learning those skills like we learned when we were little rugrats running around on the street, developing a personality and how to deal with people that don't like you, people who are picking on you, bullies, things like that. Learning how to defend yourself either with humor or if you had to get physical or both. And understanding all these, the way your brain develops as a young kid when you're out on the streets on your own trying to figure it out, way different from having been raised with helicopter parents and things like that and play dates and everybody gets a trophy and all those things. Those things that were done has stunted the intellectual and mental growth of our youth. I believe that. I'm generalizing here. I'm not saying every young person doesn't have these skills. And it's not that you can't develop them. You will. If you go out in the real world and deal with people, human interactions, you're not sitting at home, working from home all the time or living in your parents' basement. And you know what I'm saying? You got to get out there to develop yourself as a human being. So we had a jump start with it because we had less parental guidance. So, and I always said that to my friends with kids for decades. I always said that the worst thing you do for your kids is doing things for your kids. You got to let them figure this shit out. You got to let them get used to disappointment. Get used to things not going right. I mean, my dad did things purposefully to make my life more difficult at times because he knew I would grow from it. So that by the time I was 14 and the scenario was such that I ended up having to live alone, he knew I was capable of doing that. So, I just want you to ponder that there for a while. And that's it. You guys have a great day. Be good to one another. Thank you for being here. Thanks for all the kind comments. And even the ones that are like, because it makes my brain, the gears of my brain turn. And I'm like, okay, let me think about that. And that's what gives me some of the ideas to talk to you. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.